YouTube. This is my review for Definitely Maybe by Oasis on vinyl. This is the Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. I don't actually have a name for this series yet, but I'll call it like Vinyl Legends or something. Essentially, I'm going to film reviews for my top 10 favourite albums of all time. I was just going to do a top 10 list where I talked about them for a bit, but I thought that'd be a bit boring. So instead, I'm not sure which days I'm going to post it. It'll be every so often, at least 2 a week, or probably more. But I'm going to go over all of my favourite albums. So today, we're starting with the greatest album of all time, in my humble opinion. So let's get straight into the backstory. Well, the backstory of Oasis Definitely Maybe. Now, this album has a very, very detailed backstory, and my favourite film of all time, top of the list for films, is Supersonic, the Oasis documentary, and that goes into great length about the backstory of this album, so I definitely recommend checking it out. But essentially, Liam Gallagher was hit on the head with a hammer, and then that sort of opened his mind to music, and he got really into lots of bands, but essentially the Stone Roses. Big, if you want Oasis influences, you want the Beatles, you want the Smiths, and you want the Stone Roses. But the biggest was the Stone Roses. They were huge in Manchester. They were the first huge Britpop Manchester band. And obviously both Gallagher brothers growing up at that time were massive into them, and they were a huge influence for this album and later Oasis stuff. But so Liam Gallagher gets really into the Stone Roses, and he goes to a Stone Roses concert, and that sort of solidifies it in his mind that this is what I want to do. I want to join a band and I want to make money being successful. And he was already friends with Paul Arthurs, who they'd nicknamed Bonehead, and I'm going to call him Bonehead for the rest of this video. And then Gwigsy, I forget what his real name is, but his nickname is Gwigsy. So recall, actually, I said I forget, it's on here, isn't it? His name was Paul McGuigan, but people call him Gwigsy, so we'll just call him Gwigsy. And Tony McCarroll, who came in a bit later, but no, sorry, Bonehead, Gwigsy, and Tony McCarroll were already in a band called The Rain, and they knew Liam Gallagher. They were friends with Liam Gallagher from school or whatever, and they knew that he had just started singing and that he was really good with singing. And back in these early days, Liam Gallagher's voice was very soulful. It was very soft, and it was beautiful. His voice is always beautiful, but it was really soft and young at that age. So they tried him out, and you know, they loved him, of course. And they were already in a band called The Rain, but Liam Gallagher said that name is terrible, we need a new name. And that's where he came up with Oasis. Noel Gallagher was a roadie for the another Manchester band called the Inspiral Carpets, and they eventually sacked him, but they sacked him for being a bit rude, a bit callous. But he met on there. Is he mentioned on here? He should be. What's his name? He met Mark Coyle. Mark Coyle was also the roadie for the Inspiral Carpets, who they met through that. And then when he was sacked from them, he also went back to Manchester. And then he heard from his mum, you know, that Liam Gallagher, your brother's in a band. He would then go to the Broadwalk, which is like the sort of like the Cavern Club, but for Manchester in the 90s, and he would watch them play live, Liam Gallagher and Oasis. But they weren't, at that point in Oasis, they weren't that good. They were basically a Stone Roses ripoff, and Liam Gallagher has admitted it at that point. And you know, that's not a bad thing, you know, most bands get their start from inspiration from another band. But Noel Gallagher would, you know, then want to join, and the story goes, Liam Gallagher says that Noel got on his knees and begged to join, but Noel Gallagher says that's not true, and they wanted Noel Gallagher to be their manager and join. You know, it's that brotherly conflict is there, but Noel Gallagher joins, and then nothing happens for 2 years. Nobody paid any attention to them. Nobody really cared. But then one day, one beautiful day, Noel Gallagher comes up with a song and everything changes. And that song is my favourite song of all time, Live Forever, which is tattooed on my skin. We will get to that in the songs bit, but he comes up with this song, he plays it for them, and then Bonehead says, "Shut up, you didn't write that. Yeah, that's amazing, you didn't write that." And it's true, it is amazing. So that was where it started, and then there was another band, an all-woman band, I forget the name of, who were going to go and play up in, I think it was Glasgow, and for a small Manchester band to have a gig outside of Manchester was huge. So they were being really cocky, and they were making fun of Oasis, saying like, "Oh, we've got this gig out here, you haven't, but you can come with us." And they knew that Oasis had more songs, so they let Oasis play for a larger set in front of the crowd. And I swear, I need to remember their names, but he should be on here. Owen Morris, is it not Owen Morris? No. Oh, what is his name? Oh no, it's not on here. Oh, fuck. No, I can't remember his name. But the guy who signed Oasis would go to that gig because that female band I'd mentioned, his ex-girlfriend was in that band playing. So he was just being a dick and going to the concert. But of course he would then see Oasis play and think, "Fucking hell, these are amazing, I need to sign these." And that magical evening, he would sign them. He would go up to Noel Gallagher and said, "I want to sign you to Creation Records." And, it was a match made in heaven. Oh, his name is... Oh, I'm going to kill myself. His name is... Oh, no. Sorry, it's gone. Anyway, so they would get signed to Creation Records. And recording of this album would begin. But it didn't work. It took them 3 tries to record this album. They recorded it once and had the demo tapes that they took to this manager, I forget the name of, and they took to everyone and said, "Listen to this is what we've got." And everyone was telling them it was rubbish. It didn't sound like they did live. At this point, and their whole career, but mostly at this point, Oasis sounded mega live. And everybody wanted to encapsulate that mega sound. So, it just didn't sound like they did live. And that was a big problem because it didn't sound right. So they then did it again. But again, it was rubbish. So they scrapped it for a 3rd time. And Noel Gallagher wanted to just put it out there and then start working on their 2nd album and get that one right, which everyone was telling him you can't do that. But 3rd time, obviously, it would come together and they would make my favourite album of all time. Kiss it. I love this album. But yeah, so as for the singles... Sorry everyone, I cut. His name's Alan McGee. I knew it was in the back of my head. Alan McGee went to the concert and saw Oasis for the first time and signed them. His name's not mentioned on this album, but Alan McGee wanted the song Bring It On Down to be their first single, and it was all headed that way because at the time, no, they didn't have Supersonic, but in the time they were going to get Chinese food, or it might have been Indian food, and Liam Gallagher wanted to go in someone's BMW, or I think it was Alan McGee's BMW, the story goes, but they wouldn't take him. And in the time it took 3 or 4 guys to eat Chinese food, Noel Gallagher wrote Supersonic, one of the greatest songs of all time. He just wrote it, 10 minutes, 20 minutes. I love it, but that's getting into songs. So that Supersonic would be released as a single. So Supersonic was released as this huge smash hit, and it was massive. And then this album released, obviously. I believe it was, I should have done my fact checks, but I believe this was at the time the fastest selling debut album in British history. And it outsold, well, I think Michael Jackson was also in the charts, or had been in the charts, and this took him off number 1, which was also amazing. There's more which I'm forgetting because I'm an idiot, but so that's for the singles. We had my favourite song, Live Forever, which was a huge hit. We had Supersonic, obviously. Cigarettes and Alcohol was a good single. I think Shaker Maker was a single as well. But anyway, let's get into the looks, shall we? So as for the looks, I mean, I've got two versions of this album. This is the 25th anniversary edition, as last year it was celebrating his 25th birthday, which is cool. Now I don't actually ever listen to this one, unfortunately, because it just skips and it's not the best. But the vinyl is silver, which is really cool. They also released a a picture disc version, but it was really expensive, obviously it being a double album with the picture discs, and I already had the silver one. I bought the silver one before I realised there was a picture disc, so I never really picked that up, and maybe I will in the future because it is my favourite album, but right now I just don't see a point. I might pick up the picture disc of What's the Story Morning Glory that's coming out. But anyway, but we'll go over, this is my 2014 reissue one, my first one. This is one of the first albums I picked up on vinyl. So first of all, I love the album cover, that's so iconic. I love the ball. See that globe up there? If you turn to the back cover, you can see Noel Gallagher's holding up the globe, which they obviously edited him out for that one. So it's just floating there, which is really cool. We have The Good, the Bad and the Ugly on the TV. We have a bunch of different footballers on the front cover, which obviously I don't understand. One thing you need to know about this band, they're huge, mega Man City fans. Don't even ask me about football, I'm not a football person, but massive Man City fans. Lovely gatefold. Look at how young they look. Can I show you without it messing me up? Look at how young they are in there. And I love the record on the sleeve. That's really cool. I won't show you I mean, I suppose I can, but it is just black. Like, it's not anything exciting. Just a plain old record. But I love how simple the labels are. I do wish it's about 55 minutes long, and I do wish it was on one record, but I don't think it would fit. Maybe, but if you go over to the 20th anniversary edition one though, it looks, I don't know whether I can show you on the camera. I don't know whether is it obvious? It might be a bit. Can you see? So just one looks a bit lighter than the other. It's not that best on the camera, but for whatever reason the 20th anniversary one, it's a bit faded, a bit different. I know I'm nitpicking at that point, but anyway. Yeah, but that is probably my favourite album cover as well. Yeah, just amazing. So let's get into the song. It's the best bit. So if we're going to talk about the songs on this album, we've got to start with my favourite song of all time. This was my first tattoo. This was something I'd wanted on my skin for years. And then I met up with Songbird and my American friend. We were dating at the time, and they took me to get my first tattoo in Atlanta, Georgia. And I got Live Forever. So to talk about this song and what it means to me, we'll go over like the actual song in a bit, but for now, it's just, I know I've spoken about this a lot, but I deal with a lot of depression, and sometimes that depression can graduate into forms of suicidal thoughts, and they do come, and they're not nice, and they're horrible. And this song, Live Forever, is a massive anti-suicide song. I love songs that are all about don't give up and keep going, and Live Forever is the pinnacle of those sort of songs. So what you had bands like Nirvana coming over to the UK, and a lot of their songs were a bit drab, a bit, a bit sad. And Noel Gallagher was really fed up with how sad a lot of music was sounding at the time. So he wrote Live Forever. I keep doing that because it's on my arm, and I love my tattoos. I'll always take the opportunity to show you my tattoos. But it's just such an amazing song. I love the lyrics about how, just don't give up. Me and you see things that no one else can see, and we're gonna live forever. No matter what comes, me and you are gonna live forever. Maybe I will never be all the things that I want to be. Now is not the time to cry. Now's the time to find out why. I think you're the same as me. We see things they'll never see. You and I are gonna live forever. Because maybe I don't really want to know how your garden grows, because I just want to fly. Lately, do you ever feel the pain in the morning in the morning rain as it soaks you to the bone? Maybe I just want to fly. Maybe I want to live, don't want to die. Maybe I just want to breathe. Maybe I just don't believe. Maybe you're the same as me. We see things I'll never see. You and I are gonna live forever. Those lyrics mean everything to me. And they have kept me going. I know it's a bit of a meme, like, oh, this song saved my life. But honestly, seriously, it did. And it keeps me going. If I'm in a really bad mood, it is a song I stick on. And I have played it on repeat because it does help me. I used to have it on vinyl. I used to have the single, like an original release single. But unfortunately, I had to sell a lot of my records a few years ago, because I needed a bit of money, was a bit tight at the time. But the album cover for the single was John Lennon's Childhood Home, which is a fun Easter egg. But it's just such an amazing song. The lyrics mean everything to me. And I want the lyrics going down my arm, but Songbird talked me into just getting Live Forever, and I do agree now, it looks better. But, some days I do want to just give up, and the idea that we're just going to live forever, no matter what comes, we're going to get through this, it really helps me. It's such an amazing song. But now let's talk about the rest of the album. So this album contains, some of my favourite songs of all time. It starts with Rock and Roll Star, which has the same sort of feelings as Live Forever for me. It's all about how I'm not where I want to be right now. I want to be a rock and roll star. So I'm going to get my finger out my ass, I'm going to get on stage, and I'm going to be a rock and roll star. This is just rock and roll music, It's not easy to get out of this city, and no one believes in me, but I'm going to do it, and I'm going to make it. This is just rock and roll, with Noel Gallagher's amazing guitar work, amazing lyrics, and Liam Gallagher's raunchy and punchy, punch you in the face vocals. Just amazing. They kill it. And a shout out to Tony I can't pronounce his surname. Tony McCarroll, who would only ever play drums on this album, and some might say, but his drumming really helps make this album special. They kicked him out because apparently he wasn't that great of a drummer, but his different kind of drumming really adds a flavour to this album, let's say. So Rock and Roll Star is amazing. Shaker Maker. Now Shaker Maker's interesting because they hadn't actually finished the song, and they were driving to what's his name? Mars from the Smiths, Johnny Marr's studio to record it. And then Liam Gallagher asks Noel in the back of the taxi, like, have you finished the song yet? And literally, at driving to Johnny Marr's studio, that Noel Gallagher would finish the song. That's why the last verse mentions someone stopping at green lights and stuff, which is really cool. And then, of course, Live Forever, my favourite song of all time. Up in the Sky is an amazing song. Again, amazing vocals across the board, the whole album. But Up in the Sky is all about how, both Gallagher brothers lived through Thatcher's Britain, which I'm not going to get into politics, but she essentially fucked the country and made poor people even poorer. It's important to know that both the Gallagher brothers and all members of Oasis were from a really poor background. They're from a place called Burnage in Manchester, which is a really poor working class society. And so the song is about how rich tofters, rich like the royal family rich, have never had to deal with the problems that young people of their generation are having to deal with. So it is a really great song. Columbia, which was originally just going to be a instrumental piece, but they would add lyrics to it, and Liam Gallagher actually supposedly helped write the song. It's not all Noel Gallagher's work, but it's credited to Noel Gallagher. He's got all writing credits on this album. But it is an amazing song with amazing guitars. These really raw and powerful guitars in it. And then side 2 ends with Sad Song. Now, I love Sad Song. It's beautiful. Some of the greatest lyrics ever. But it's weird how maybe it was put on the record to fill space on the record. But if you download this album, if you buy an MP3 of this album, or you get it on a streaming service, Sad Song is not on the album's track listing, which is strange. But it's an absolutely stunning song with Noel Gallagher taking lead vocals. Beautiful, beautiful song. I'm going to burp. Side 3 starts with Supersonic, which has these just stunning drums. Really punchy, punching you in the face drums that kick off the track. And it sounds amazing on vinyl. Like, I love the drumming and the vocals as well. Obviously Liam Gallagher is my favourite singer, but the drumming that kicks off the track is so good. I absolutely adore it. And the lyrics about hiding your feelings under a waterfall because nobody can hear you call. Absolutely love it. And then we have Bring It On Down, which is a very Sex Pistols-esque song. Liam Gallagher was a huge Sex Pistols fan and Rolling Stones fan. And it's very raunchy, it's very high-paced, high volume, absolutely brilliant. And amazing, amazing guitar work from Noel. And the drumming, Tony McCarroll couldn't handle the drumming. As I've said, he wasn't that great of a drummer. So someone else played drums on that track because he couldn't do it. And then we have Cigarettes and Alcohol, which is all about, it's a proper lad song, a proper British pub lad song about having a pint of lager and having a line of cocaine. As Noel Gallagher said, Noel Gallagher in 1995, after this album came out, got in trouble for saying that drugs are just the same as having a cup of tea in working class Britain, which back in the 90s is probably true. So the song has amazing guitar work again, amazing vocals from Liam Gallagher, but the lyrics are about, Bonehead said, if I'm in the biggest British band in the last 30 years, am I gonna go to bed by 9 o'clock? No, I'm gonna go out and I'm gonna party. It's just about partying and having a fantastic time, and it's an amazing song. Side 4 starts with Digsy's Dinner, who Digsy was a friend of the band, and the song is about going over to his house for his lasagna for whatever reason. Slide Away, my god, Slide Away is such a beautiful song. Noel Gallagher wrote it for his girlfriend at the time, and it's stunning. I love that song so much. The vocals, Liam Gallagher, amazing. The guitar work, I love the guitar work in the bridge of the song where he's singing, I don't know, I don't care, all I know is you can take me there. I love the lyrics on the song are so beautiful. Slide Away, take me away for today, let me be your sunshine, and we can both slide away. Just amazing. And then the album ends with Married with Children, which is another amazing song. And I love the lyrics about how your music is shit and it keeps me up at night. It's all about how, or I believe, and I think a lot of Oasis fans believe, Noel Gallagher wrote it for Liam Gallagher. It sounds like, they are obviously their brothers, but it sounds like he's complaining about having to live with Liam for most of his life. And it's just a beautiful song. I love the stripped back, it's still electric guitars, but it's very stripped back, and it's beautiful. There's a demo version where it's more acoustic led, which it doesn't sound as good in my opinion, but some people think it does, and it's just a perfect closing track to the album. When you want a closing track, you can have like, you know, these big epic closer like A Day in the Life by the Beatles, or you can have just this really simple, you know, ending the album on a high note song like Married with Children, which I absolutely love. Now, the production on this album is probably not for everyone. I love it. It was produced by a man named Mark Coyle, who is credited for inventing brick walling, which this album was the first brick walled album, which started the whole loudness war thing, where this album would come on the jukebox in a pub 10 times as louder as anything else they had. And it sounds, you know, the Oasis sound on this album is just distortion turned up to 11. It's really powerful, really loud, in your face, really just right front and center at you. And it's brilliant, and I absolutely love it. All in all, it's just such an amazing album. So let's get into the conclusion, shall we? Straight off the bat, it's probably no surprise to anyone, but this album is a 10 out of 10. It's the greatest album of all time. It's my favourite album of all time. I adore this album 1,000,000,000%. Everything about it, I just love it to pieces. This was the start of something amazing. Oasis mean a lot to me, my favourite band. And music is, so I want to talk about this for a bit. I won't go on for too long, it's been a really long video, but I get a lot of people telling me I shouldn't love Oasis as much as I do because they ripped off the Beatles. And I've actually had people get really upset with me because I have said that I'd rather listen to Oasis than the Beatles. There are some really toxic, let's be honest, they're teenagers, so they would be toxic, but there are some really toxic Beatles fans in the Beatles community, the current Beatles community, who will defend the Beatles till they die, and nothing else is better. Anyone who says something's better is a liar and they're wrong and I'm going to kill them, sort of thing. And people have been really like they tried to point out to me. It's like I posted a video. I used to use TikTok quite a lot, and I just video my record spinning around. So I did a video of Don't Look Back in Anger playing, and of course the start of Don't Look Back in Anger uses the piano section from John Lennon's Imagine. It's only a few seconds, but someone just had to point that out. You know, I had said this is one of my favourite songs of all time, so someone just had to comment like, yeah, but he just used the thing from John Lennon's Imagine. They're copying John Lennon. They're copying John Lennon. It's like, shut up. First of all, music is fluid. My favourite band is Oasis, and that is my opinion. You have a different opinion, and that's fine. But stop trying to tell me that my opinion or my musical tastes are wrong. Stop gatekeeping and go, you know, annoy someone else. I would never tell you that your favourite band or artist is rubbish, or that you shouldn't think they're great because they were inspired by this, that or the other. Both Gallagher brothers were massively inspired by the Beatles. There's no question about that. And they used a lot of the Beatles sound in their music because that's what they loved. And I don't have a problem with that whatsoever. You know, are they like the greatest? Have they ever done a bad song? Yes, they have. You know, every band releases a song or an album that's just not that great. Some people will tell me, yeah, but only their first 3 albums are that good, and then they release some shit albums. I can't believe you like them more than this, that, or the other. And it just annoys me. People gatekeep and try to correct me because of my musical tastes. But I've gone off on a massive tangent. Anyway, this album is a 10 out of 10 and it's my favourite album of all time. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you again next time. Take care, everyone.